Okay, this is chapter 7b on the Passion of Christ from the book Best Christian Art by me, Peter Rogers. Okay, so we last on in chapter 7a, we finished up with Pilate washing his hands of the matter, painting by James Tissot from 1891. Now we're going to look at the next painting here is the Disrobing of Christ by El Greco from 1579. And so El Greco has these beautiful elongated figures and really great coloration. Kind of reminds me of the Venetian painters, but I like El Greco better. Okay, so the humiliation of Christ, disrobing of Christ, and then here is the mocking of Christ by Gerard von Honthorst, 1617. Here's the Bible verses if you want to see them. They put the crown of thorns on them. Here is the Flagellation of Christ by William Bouguereau from 1880. He's a magnificent painter. You can obviously see the figures, the action, the faces, the emotion. Christ said, "Remember, if the world hates you, they hated me first." A society's messed up when people get hated for doing a good thing, and that's unfortunately all too common. George Orwell had pointed that out as well. Here is a painting by Carlo Caliari called The Veil of Veronica. So when Jesus stumbled while carrying the cross down Via Dolorosa, she gave him her veil to wipe his sweat, and his face appeared in the veil. And this is different from the Shout of Turin, which was after he was dead. Okay, so this is the Veil of Veronica. And I had an aunt named Veronica who was very nice. This one's by Domenico Fetti from 1620. The Veil of Veronica. Okay, this painting here is again along Via Dolorosa. There's a nice song, Via Dolorosa. There's a couple different good versions of it. So if you go to YouTube and type Via Dolorosa, there's some good versions of it. Different lady singers singing it. Okay, here is his mother, Mother Mary, reaching out to Christ. These are some of the events along the way of Via Dolorosa. Okay, this is the painting by Raphael, also of Via Dolorosa, where Christ, carrying the cross, he falls, and you've got the three Marys with him. There's his mother Mary, her sister, there's Mary Magdalene. So this is a pretty good one. Raphael, anything Raphael does is good. Sometimes his students do a lot of the work. It's not quite as good. Here's some great songs that relate to this. Were You There When They Crucified My Lord? Sam Cooke has the best version of that. That's an awesome song. Johnny Cash has a good version of it. Sam Cooke also has a great version of it with Must Jesus Bear This Cross Alone? And that was Sam Cooke and the Soul Stirrers. He's the greatest gospel singer who ever lived. Via Dolorosa, and this is one of the really good versions of it. The lady singer's name is, she sometimes goes by Taiji or Tatiana. She's a great singer. Oh, and then I really like this one too by Loretta Lynn. He Could Have Called 10,000 Angels. It's great stuff. She's a country music singer from the USA. Okay, now this painting here is Simon the Cyrenian is asked to help, and he helps carry the cross for Christ. Christ is obviously pretty exhausted at this point. And there's the same songs I mentioned earlier in the Bible verse. This one's also by James Tissot. He did the whole series of paintings on the life of Christ. Okay, here is then Via Dolorosa by Eugene Burnand. And at this point, Simon the Cyrenian is carrying the cross and Christ is walking. There's Virgin Mary's with him, and then the other Marys, Roman soldiers out in front. Okay, now here is a painting. I think this one's by Jan Styka. Yeah, it's from 1897, and this has sort of like been called the Polish Sistine Chapel. It's a magnificent painting. It's about 100 feet long. There's Christ right there. I'm sorry I can't turn it sideways. But you can look it up, Jan Styka, okay, in the Crucifixion, 1897. And there's a whole big interesting story with it. It was almost lost, and then they found it again, and it's a masterpiece. And here's basically the song. Some additional songs, I Surrender, to Jesus, and that's by Hillsong. That's a great song. It's got like over 200 million views, and it's an awesome song. It's a great song. The first 5 minutes are almost a little slow, but man, is it the first beginning of it's a little slow, but it gets fantastic. Here's Raising of the Cross by Peter Paul Rubens on a triptych, with 3 parts to it, and did a great job of capturing, the movement there, raising the cross up. Okay, now here's another painting of Raising the Cross, this one by James Tissot from 1896. Pretty dramatic event. And then I'm going to do maybe one more, or maybe we'll stop there. Okay, here's Christ on the Cross. This one's by Carl Bloch. It's a good crucifixion picture. There's Mary just in extreme sadness, and the other Mary, and there's John at the cross as well. John was sort of the only one that was with him, the only male disciple that was with him at this time. The women stayed with him. The male disciples were afraid that they too would be arrested and persecuted. This is a really good song, What Wondrous Love Is This by Coyne. Okay. And then here is a Crucifixion by Tintoretto, the Venetian painter, 1565. And he considers this one of his best paintings. And certainly the whole setup of it is quite extraordinary. I really like this painting by Albrecht Durer, the German guy. This guy was a genius. You can see, again, the same concept of the Trinity, Jesu Christu on earth, God the Father and the Holy Spirit up above, and the stratification layers of society, the people on earth. Then there's different levels of angels, God. It's beautiful. All right, and we'll stop there. We'll go on with the additional parts in the next session. Kind of like a novel is published in serial chapters. We'll do that.